on top of incorrect movements, you also got a lot of misinformation. Education, workout reviews, technique analysis, and home workouts. That's basically what's covering today, where we're going to look at a couple of very popular creators, being Heather and Pamela. We're going to talk about a couple of their recent home workouts. I'm going to give my opinion on a few things that can maybe be changed, and also actually give my opinion as to why, if you are going about the home workout journey, you may not be experiencing the results you might be hoping for, and then also tell you how to change and fix that. But as always, if you haven't already, please do consider clicking the red button down below to subscribe to the channel. I would very much appreciate it. So with Heather, we're looking at a booty and thigh toning, interesting word there, ankle weight workout. See, toning is a bit of an interesting word because, again, it's thrown around the industry, when in reality, when you say toning, you actually kind of really mean to look a bit more defined, which workout in itself isn't going to make you look more defined. It may help you build a bit more muscle mass to then be a bit more present when you're a bit leaner. Definition is going to come from body fat percentage. Starting with the old glute bridge. Glute bridge is fine. All I would say with the glute bridge, if you're going to do one, I typically try and keep your feet a little bit closer to so your shins are vertical, and also elevating the toes is kind of pointless. It's not going to make the movement any more effective, and ultimately the biggest thing that you're actually looking for when doing a home workout, especially a home workout of this nature against resistance, is going to be the ability or opportunity to progressively overload, which means essentially do more reps or lift more weight each week or as often as you possibly can. So one thing I find particularly tricky about home workouts is a lot of them, like we're seeing here, are very much focused on time on versus time off. 40 seconds on, 10 seconds off. You've got to ask yourself why you're doing this home workout. So if you're doing this purely for the sake of caloric expenditure, so burning immediate calories in this moment, we'll say, or within this workout, sure, I respect it. But if you're doing so with the intention of building muscle, surely you want to get as much bang for your buck as possible. And in that sense, time-based workouts are a bit limited because frankly, your body doesn't really know weight per se. It knows intensity or proximity to failure. If you're doing 40 seconds of a movement, how do you know how many reps you've done in that 40 seconds? And how are you able to progressively overload that? So if you do 40 seconds, you get 10 reps and it's to failure, how are you going to beat that within 40 seconds? Are you going to be able to go 11 reps, 12 reps, 13 reps? But in doing so, you're actually going to end up sacrificing execution because you're now speeding up because the time hasn't changed. You're trying to fit more into a designated time period. And again, when we are looking at building muscle, which you probably are to an extent if you're performing a workout like this, you do want to consider how hard are you training? You need to be training to, if not close to failure. How many reps you do, largely kind of irrelevant within reason. 5 to 30 is what I often say, but it's how close to failure are those reps. So when you're doing a movement like this, which is great because obviously you're getting like a unilateral glute bridge variation with this kind of leg lift to kind of work the hip flexors as well as the glutes, you have to consider how are you going to progressively overload this. Like obviously you have the ankle weights attached to one of the ankles that's actually going through resistance, the other one that's planted is not doing anything. Therefore you could increase weight. That'll be a fantastic means of progressively overloading. But ultimately the big thing you need to consider is tracking your progress. You have to train to, if not close to failure, if you want to effectively build muscle mass. And ideally, progressive overload indicates that you have hopefully built muscle mass because you're able to do more. So if you could do 10 reps to failure one week, then 11 the next, 12 to the next, that indicates you have made progress. Therefore, what you are trying to achieve, being the building of muscle, and again, in turn with that, strength, has been achieved because you successfully progressively overloaded. When you are including like ankle weights, the big thing there is lack of progression or limited progression, is ankle weights can only go so heavy. And a lot of the movements you're actually performing with the ankle weights, like we're seeing here, are a bit limited regarding how much resistance the ankle weight is adding. So the squat variation here, fantastic, but what are the ankle weights doing in this squat variation that's going to help you train the quads primarily and also partly the glutes and whatnot closer to failure? They're not really doing anything. This step in, again, is just additional movement without any real purpose that, again, doesn't really have a massive carryover to how much weight is around your ankle. Technically, it's a fair squat. What I would say with a squat is go lower if you can. Typically, again, with a squat, we do want to go as low as possible, depending on what we're trying to target. If you're trying to target your glutes, for example, that depth is fair. You probably don't need to go much lower than that, maybe a hair. If you're trying to target your quads a bit more, you want to go as low as possible, which will also then bring in your adductors, which are the inner thigh muscle as well, which are very involved at the bottom portion of a squat. Again, lunge variations, very similar, but potentially maybe a bit more glute biased because the knee flexion, so how much the knee is bending and how far the knee is traveling, is going to be a bit limited. What progression do the ankle weights add here? They don't. I like Heather. I think a lot of her workouts are actually really good, but I do think surrounding things like this, although it is an ankle weight workout, I do feel like it could be better explained or even encouraged to use dumbbells as well to then make movements like the squats and the lunges a bit more effective for what you're trying to train, being the glutes and the thighs. Because again, ankle weights are going to have a purpose in movements like this where the ankle weight is actually adding resistance to the range of motion you're going through, but when it comes to the other movements, it's going to be a bit limited. So it is kind of effective for some, maybe not so effective for others. So maybe a combination of ankle weights and dumbbells might have been preferred and could arguably encourage a bit more progression, which is ultimately what you're going to be looking for when you are training at home and working out at home. And then we move over to Pamela's body weight workout on the floor, maximum focus on back muscles, no equipment. The no equipment part is the interesting part there, because without equipment, most of your posterior chains, so a lot of your back and, for example, your hamstrings, etc., are going to be really hard to target. So movements like this are going to work the back to an extent, but not how you think. Things like this where you are kind of arching off the ground are probably going to incorporate the lower back because you're contracting the lower back muscles here. The upper back and the mid back are essentially getting neglected here, which is fine. Maybe they're incorporated elsewhere. Then you look at where they're potentially incorporated. The range of motion here is relevant to the muscles that you're targeting. So these rowing motions where you're bringing your elbow essentially closer to the body are very relevant to target the back. Absolutely agree. But without resistance, what's it achieving? Same thing with this pull down variation, is if you're going from here to here without resistance, what does gravity do? Where is gravity pulling my arm? If I just relax, I drop straight down. What relevance does me pulling it down have when gravity's doing that for me? This is when you need resistance. So for example, a band would be really great to tie around a door and do like a banded lat pull down here where you can work the upper back and the lats effectively. But without resistance, what are you hoping to achieve? Again, caloric expenditure, I guess movement will result in burning calories, sure. And maybe if you're a beginner and you're very new to working out and this is like the starting point of you've never done anything, you want to do something, maybe this would be a good thing for confidence boosting and just getting movement in general. Or maybe flip around, if your body fat percentage was very high and you were struggling with severe obesity, doing movements at home where you're just resulting in moving your body weight, even though gravity is obviously aiding a lot, but having to hold your arms in certain positions could be very useful, because this is actually what a lot of medical professionals might give to those who are trying to lose weight from a very obese starting point, just to get them moving. Then they might add like a broomstick and then something else just to build from the ground up. So yes, they do have a time and place. Does that time and place apply to you? Potentially not. If you have a look at the description, you've got the link to apply to work with myself, Ryder and Beth on a one-to-one basis for TFNL online coaching. You've also got the link to the group coaching, which costs less than your Netflix subscription each month. And you've also got the link to the TFNL workout guides and fitness resources if any of those things tickle your pickle. But there are actually a few reasons as to why these workouts often fail. It's firstly, especially when looking at what we're seeing here, this doesn't so much actually apply to Heather. This is very much more applicable to Pamela in this instance. There are a lot of incorrect movements like this. What relevance is this having to the back? Maybe a bit of rear delts, but again, not against resistance. This is going to result in more of like a shoulder burn in general. Just because you're burning it doesn't mean you're working it. But again, on top of incorrect movements, you've also got a lot of misinformation. So this isn't actually really a back workout, to be honest, because for it to be a back workout in my eyes, it would have to result in going through a range of motion against resistance that is not aided by gravity to benefit the muscles in which you're looking to target, being the lats, the rhomboids, the traps, etc., etc. A lot of these movements aren't doing that. And then you also look at lack of progression, which can apply to both the home workouts we've seen today. Where's the progressive overload? Your body, like I said, doesn't really know weight to an extent. It doesn't know 100 kilos is 100 kilos. What it knows is how hard you're training, how close to failure you're going. Again, whether that's 5 reps to failure, 30 reps to failure, doesn't really matter largely as long as we are going to, if not very close to failure. Are you going to be able to reach that necessary intensity for progression doing a workout like this? Maybe at the start of your journey, but realistically, this isn't going to last you very long. Although you could argue movements like this could be beneficial for immediate caloric expenditure, doing them with resistance would be more beneficial, because not only are you going through the same movement, you're trying a bit harder, and you're also going to hopefully build some muscle, which then is actually going to aid long-term caloric expenditure by increasing your BMR, so your basal metabolic rate, so the amount of calories you burn while at rest. So again, I know people say, oh Harry, not everyone's trying to be a bodybuilder. I get that. My audience, for 99% of you, don't care about bodybuilding, but what you probably do care about, feeling a bit better, being a bit healthier, maybe losing weight, maybe building muscle. But regardless of what you're trying to achieve, a lot of these principles apply to all of those goals, which is whether you're trying to build muscle or lose fat, having more muscle mass will benefit that. When it comes to caloric expenditure, just because you're working out against resistance doesn't suddenly mean you're not burning any calories. You are still moving. So when you go to the gym and let's say do a weight workout for an hour, everyone's like, oh, it's not burning calories. Of course it is. You're moving for an hour against resistance. You're probably going to burn a fair few calories. And if you build more muscle, you'll burn more calories at rest. And another thing that kind of gets to me about these workouts is if resistance can't be met, so you are limited to equipment and you only have so much weight, they don't encourage intensity through reps. So again, this all goes back to training to, if not close to failure. Intensity is what's really going to matter here. So again, whether it's through 30 reps with lighter weight or 5 reps with heavier weight, your body doesn't know the weight you're really lifting, it just knows how hard you're training. And that's going to be the fundamental principle. Whether you're losing weight, building muscle, trying to feel better, trying to get a bit healthier, to make progress and to see results, you're going to have to try pretty hard. And so that's often why a lot of these workouts fail. But they can be changed by simply adding a bit of resistance and push yourself a bit harder. Instead of timing your sets, maybe just actually go to failure, get 10, then next week do 11, then do 12, then go heavier. And instead of doing these movements, which although go through a relevant range of motion for the back, maybe add resistance, add a band, add 2 bands. There are things you can do to accommodate these workouts and make them a bit better. The baseline and foundation might be there, but it's kind of potentially up to you if the creator isn't going to encourage it to build on it. Just my thoughts and opinions, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. I'm simply presenting this to hopefully aid you in your home workout journey. I think Pamela and Heather have both created good content in their time. Personally, I'm more of a fan of Heather's content than I am Pamela's, but that's just because of my goals. But regardless, I respect what they're doing for their respective audiences. I'm simply just trying to maybe give my 2 cents to hopefully improve the effectiveness of what you're doing. Thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating my home workouts waffle, and thank you for tolerating the video.